Welcome, welcome, and good evening. Welcome to another conversation, another session with the Black Male Impact. And as you may have been watching the journey, this platform is exist to highlight Black men who are making a difference, men who are leading with purpose, building legacy, and creating impact in their communities and institution. All right, today we're just going to kick off the conversation for March, which I'm going to be sharing with you, um, building legacy and just leadership beyond position. Next week we will have several guests that will be coming here to share their perspective on leadership and legacy. So, for those who are here with us, first I just want to say thanks for joining, and I appreciate you tuning in. I know it was a late post, so some people may not have seen the post because it was just posted earlier today. My name is Dr. Richard A. Cross, and I'm the founder of the Black Male Impact. And as I've said earlier, the Black Male Impact exists to highlight Black men who are making a difference, men who are leading with purpose, building legacy, and creating impact in their communities and institutions. Tonight's conversation is titled Leadership Beyond Position, the influence that changes community. And we all play a role, or we all can play a role in making a difference in our community. However, too often leadership is defined by titles, roles, and authority. But real leadership is not about position. It is about influence, responsibility, and the ability to inspire change even when no one is watching. And that's what tonight's conversation is going to be about. So if you're here and you're joining, please, if you don't mind, share this conversation with your network. We're going to be here for about 30 to 45 minutes. So, and we're just going to be talking about, different aspects of, leadership and building legacy. It's, lead from where you are with or without a position. We have to realize that we have a responsibility in making a difference in our community. Someone is always watching, and we don't know who we are inspiring. Um, so, as I said earlier, my name is Dr. Richard A. Cross, and the founder of the Black Male Impact. And tonight's conversation is on leadership beyond position, the influence that changes community. And again, we all have a responsibility to play a part in the change we want to see. And we should not think we need a position to lead or to make a positive impact. We can lead from where we are. We can make a positive impact from where we are. And, that's a responsibility that we all have to take, especially when we want to see change. And some of us may not believe that change is possible. We may not change the world, but we may create an opportunity for someone to overcome their own challenges to make their impact. So, although you may not be the one to change the world, you could inspire someone who will even make a greater impact than yourself, as we all are here because of those who came before us and those who have made the decision to lead, not always individuals with titles or in authority, but they have made the decision, made a conscious decision to lead, to show up, and to be the difference, to show us what is possible. And some of us are where we are because of those who have came before us and those who have made that decision to lead. And we are now in the driver's seat, and the next generation is looking to us. and even some of our peers are looking to us to be the difference, to make the impact that is possible, because some people will only tap into what is possible for them when we show up, when you show up and do what you are capable of doing. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And as you know, I just want to take a few minutes to reflect on a powerful idea. Leadership is not about position. Leadership is about influence. Too often, we define it as CEO, president, chief, director, superintendent, pastor, and the list goes on. But the truth is, some people hold position but never lead. And some people lead without even or ever holding a position. Leadership is not granted by title. So don't think you need a title to make a difference in your community or wherever you are. You just need to make the decision that you are going to be the difference. You are going to make the change or be a part of the change that you want to see. Some people may give up, but because you choose to, they may decide, you know what? I believe it is possible. And you have to believe that you can make a difference. All right. And leadership is not granted by title, leadership is demonstrated through action, integrity, and responsibility. And for many of us, especially us as Black men, leadership has always existed beyond position. And how it exists beyond position, it exists in fathers raising sons with discipline and love. It exists in mentors who refuse to let young men fall through the cracks. It exists in educators who believe in students before they believe in themselves. It exists in community members who stand in the gap when systems fail. So there are many people who are already leading, who are already making a difference, despite not having a position or one of those esteem titles. And that means not having one should not stop you from believing that you can make a difference. It's a matter of you believing. So leadership begins with ownership. Before anyone follows you, you must first lead yourself. We are responsible for leading ourselves first. All right, that is first and foremost part when it comes to leadership, when it comes to making a difference. We have to work on ourselves first. Leadership starts with ownership, ownership of your decisions, ownership of your character, ownership of your growth. Because influence grows from credibility. People do not follow perfection, but they will follow consistency. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to um, be perfect. A lot of times we think we have to be perfect. We think we have to maybe speak a certain way. We think we may have to look a certain way or dress a certain way. But if you are consistent in doing what makes a difference, you're going to find that people will tap into what you are doing to make a difference. Once you believe in it, that's what's important. And then you make the conscious decision and show up intentionally every day to do what you believe will make a difference. That's what people like to see. And again, when you show up and do what you believe is possible, others will show up and start to believe and start or even start to support you. But we have to realize that it starts with ownership. So um, they will follow someone who keeps their word. As a leader, as someone who wants to make a difference, it's important that you keep your word. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. All right. It doesn't matter your position, and it's even more important when you are in positions of leadership. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. All right. You show up when it's hard to lead, to make a difference, to make an impact. It's not always going to be easy. There are going to be days when you don't feel like doing what you want to do, but that's not what leadership is about. Sometimes you got to show up and do the work necessary, even when you don't feel like it. And there are a few comments here. See if I can, before I go any further. Some people hold position. Um, all right, see some people here watching. I just want to highlight. This is a point that I already made. So Barry just pointed out some people hold position but never lead, and just to you know highlight that statement, which is true. If we're in positions of leadership, it's important that we lead and understand what leadership is about and the importance of it. All right. Because again, people are looking up to us, and we never know who are looking up to us. And people may first admire you because of the position you hold, but then you got to keep, modeling what that position demand of you as a leader. All right. For leadership does the right thing when no one is watching. It's not just when people are watching that we're going to do the work that is necessary. We have to do the work. We have to make the difference, even when no one is watching. And the truth is, someone is always watching. All right. So the most influential leaders understand something important. Influence is earned long before it is recognized. So you doing the work, you making the commitment. You may think that no one is watching, but someone is. And if you are really about the work, you're going to do the work regardless of where you are. One of my mentors always say, you always show up as the person you are, regardless of where you are. So as a leader, you want to show up as the leader that you say you are, regardless of where you are. All right. And again, as the statement says, influence is earned long before it is recognized. Some people have been doing the work, and no one have acknowledged their efforts. And then later on, sometimes we see their acknowledgement, and then we'd be saying, "Oh, no one," but they have been doing the work. But sometimes that's how it goes. The work is being done sometimes long before the person doing the work, get recognized. And Terry, thanks, Terry East, his son. I think I pronounced it correctly. Thanks for watching. I just saw your note here. I appreciate you tuning in. Um, you built influence in quiet moments, the early mornings, the late nights, the difficult conversations, the moments when quitting would be easier. And this is one thing that you can tell um, when you are amongst leaders, because it's not always when it's easy. You see them show up, and sometimes you be wondering where they find the strength or the courage or the confidence to keep going. And those are the things that really makes the difference, because leaders are people who wants to make a difference do feel like giving up at times. It to the world they may feel, or it may seem like they are not human because they push through those moments. They too sometimes feel like quitting, but they know what they have signed up for, and they keep going. And that's one of the factors, as in those who have made that conscious decision, to lead, to make a difference. They know, despite how they feel, they are still going to show up, because they know the difference it makes. And and every leader may not change the world or inspire 1 million people, but you as a leader may inspire someone who will go on to inspire a million or change the world. So we can't really focus on how many people. We just have to focus on the work, because your job as a leader may just to inspire someone who will go on to do even greater work than yourself. And we should want that. We should have that, um, desire to inspire others who will even do better, who will do more than us. you know we shouldn't think that, oh, I'm supposed to be the one to do the most. No, you may inspire someone who will do more than you, and that's fine. And that's what it's about, and that's what it should be about. We inspire others, to be and do even greater things. All right, leadership, beyond position, means understanding your habits are shaping your influence every day. All right. And yes, it's just some messages that comes in, which I'm going to get to it in a minute. But you build influence in quiet moments, the early mornings, the late nights, the difficult conversations, the moments when quitting would be easier. Leadership beyond position means understanding your habits are shaping your influence every day. So the things you choose to do daily, um, there's someone out there who is watching, and it's influencing them, and it's impacting them, and it's helping them to stay the course, to do the work that they also choose to do. So influence is built through service. The leaders who change communities understand something powerful. The leaders who change communities understand something powerful. Leadership is not about being seen. It is about serving something greater than yourself. However, in serving something greater than yourself, people will see you, or you will be seen. But it's not about being seen. However, you will be. It's about serving something greater than yourself. Really, leaders ask different question, not how do I get ahead, but how do I lift others with me? And that is something that we have to start doing intentionally. And because it's a part, it's a responsibility, and we should see it as a responsibility, to lift others with us as we press forward on this journey. All right. Service creates trust, and trust creates influence. When people believe you care about them, not just your career, they listen differently. When people believe you care about them, not just your career, they listen differently. They follow differently, and and communities change because of it. Now, we have seen communities that have transformed, that many people may not believe would have. But when someone goes in the seat and let the people they are serving know that they care, things happen differently. The people show up, and some people think it's just a program. A lot of times, you can have the best program, but and people can sense that if you care, if you truly care about them, especially when you're in those position of service, when you are entrusted to lead people, to care for people, to help them to see bigger or better. They will know if you really care. And sometimes when you see the change, it's not that they have the best program, but those individuals, really care about those who they are serving. And it is important when it comes to making a difference. So, um, we see this in every field where people show up and they care for those who they're entrusted to serve or take care of. In higher education, when leaders refuse to give up on students. Um, in law enforcement, when officers build relationship instead of fear. In community leaders, when individuals stand up for those who feel invisible. We have seen this a lot of times, and it's not that these individuals have the most prestige program, and they could have the most prestigious program. But in higher education, when educators refuse to give up on students, you do see a difference in performance. And sometimes, people will question that educator, to see, wonder what they are doing. But it's because they show the students that they care about them beyond the lessons. And I've witnessed this and I've experienced it, being in the classroom with students, because one of the things that I'm going there in those spaces, I'm going to let them know. Because one, you know, I had some individuals who have demonstrated that they care about my well-being more than where I was. So in law enforcement, when officers build relationship instead of fear, in community leadership, when individuals stand up for those who feel invisible, that's what makes the difference a lot of times. Not so much a program, but the person who is doing the work, the person who leads the program, not just the program, because you can give someone else the same program and you don't get the same results. So it's not just the program; it's how the person makes the those they are entrusted to serve feel. And I just want to highlight another. As Barry said, true leadership is measured not by the position or the title someone holds, but by their lives they inspire through action. So important. It is not just the position, because we have people in position that are not leading, that are not, making people feel as if they matter, are they valued? All right. So influence grows when people recognize one thing. You are not using leadership for yourself, you are using it for others. All right. Influence grows when people recognize one thing. You are not using leadership for yourself, you are using leadership for others. And adversity is the training ground for leadership. Yeah, not because you are in a position or decided to lead means the journey is going to be easy. You're going to be tested, and what you do when you're tested really makes a lot of difference. So many of the most impactful leaders were never the ones expected to succeed. Some were counted out, some faced failure, some were told they didn't belong. Some, all right, most of the impactful, I just want to say this again. Many of the most impactful leaders were never the ones expected to succeed. Some were counted out, some faced failure, some were told they didn't belong. But adversity has a way of producing something powerful. And many of you here have seen it, have read about it, and maybe you are that type of leader. But adversity has a way of producing something powerful, and that is resilience, because they could have quit. They could have given up on what they believe is possible, but they didn't. And that's why they become are a part of some of the most impactful leaders. Adversity teaches leaders things success cannot. Adversity teaches leaders things success cannot. It teaches patience. It teaches empathy. It teaches perseverance. All right? When you have struggled, you understand how to lead people through struggle. And communities do not need perfect leaders, they need tested leaders. Not a um, textbook leader, tested leaders. Those are the individuals, in truth, that really make a tremendous impact. And one of the things that I normally bring to the classroom, especially teaching adult students, right? I always let the students know that I understand whatever struggle they are going through. I may not have the same experience. However, because I know what adversity, I know what struggle, I know what going the extra mile, I know what not having certain things look like and feel like, it makes it easier for me to connect with those students, right? So, and I can understand where they are on their journey. It's not that, um, sorry, it's not that, um, you know, they have to be perfect, but you have to let them know that they can have the adversity and still succeed, because you let them see through you or through your experience what is possible. But keep this in mind: when you have struggled, you understand how to lead people through struggle. All right, and communities do not need perfect leaders. They need tested leaders, leaders who have faced pressure, leaders who know how to stand when things get difficult. Right, because when storms come, and they will come, storms will come. Communities look for leaders who will not run. People who are leaders who are going to stand up, people who are going to stand with them. That makes a lot of difference. And it may seem simple, but I always want to be there amongst the leader who they believe will um, stand up, or the leaders are there with them despite what they are going through. It is very important. They look for leaders who will stand firm. And adversities happen, challenges happen, pressures happen. But when a leader can stand despite what they're experiencing, it says a lot about the leader. Also, when it comes to building legacy and lead with impact, mentorship multiplies leadership. So, as a leader, mentorship is so important. One leader can make a difference, but Mentorship multiplies that difference. Every impactful leader understands this. Your legacy is not what you accomplish, your legacy is who you develop. Your legacy is not what you accomplish, your legacy is who you develop. When black men mentor the next generation, when as a people, when we mentor the next generation, something powerful happen. And I say black men because that's what this platform is about. The Black Men Impact is where we highlight black men who are doing the work. So when black men mentor the next generation, something powerful happens. Young men begin to see possibility. When we mentor the next generation, something powerful happens. Young men begin to see possibility. They begin to believe, if he did it, maybe I can too. And there's a quote out there, I don't remember who said it. It's easier to become what they see. So we must demonstrate what is possible. Then they will not have to question if it is possible for them to achieve what we display as possible because they're watching. And we can achieve more than the ordinary. We just have to be willing to challenge ourselves. And then we help the next generation to realize that they too can achieve more than the ordinary. But sometimes we limit ourselves based on where we start. But we have a responsibility to help the next generation to believe that they have what it takes. All right. So if he did it, so that's what who's watching, those who we are mentoring, maybe I can do it too. Mentorship breaks cycles. It builds confidence. It transfers wisdom. Mentorship breaks cycles. It builds confidence. It transfers wisdom. And in many cases, mentorship is the difference between a young man becoming lost or becoming a leader. In many cases, mentorship is the difference between a young man becoming lost or becoming a leader. Leadership beyond position means asking, who am I pouring into? Who am I lifting up? Who will be better because I showed up? Leadership beyond position means asking, who am I pouring into? Who am I lifting up? And who will be better because I showed up? And again, we can ask those questions to ourselves regardless of the positions we have. We don't need a particular title to ask ourselves those questions. We don't need a particular position to ask ourselves those questions. We don't need to be multi-millionaires to ask ourselves those questions. We don't need to own our own business to ask ourselves those questions. All right. Just know that leadership, creates legacy, and that's what we're going to be talking about for the next 5 to 7 minutes. That leadership creates legacy. At some point, every leader, at some point, every leader must ask a powerful question. Not what did I achieve, but what changed because I was here? That's a very important, powerful question. And we all should, wherever we go, we should go there with purpose. We should know that we want to make a difference. Yes, sometimes going in spaces where you want to make a difference, you will experience resistance, especially if that's not what the culture is. However, you should not be less of who you are because of your environment. There are other environments out there, but sometimes, yes, you may go into environments where you have to challenge the culture, the cultural norm, because if they are not about making the difference, that real difference, you're going to experience some resistance. However, your goal is not to be less of who you are, is to be the best of who you are. And sometimes, yes, that comes with resistance. However, that should not make you not wanting to ask this question: what changed because I was here? Or what I'm going to change because I'm here? What difference I'm going to make because I'm here? They should know that you are there to make a difference. Don't just fit in and limit yourself and be less than. Make the difference. Challenge the status quo and even challenge the culture. Because if you are about making a difference, if you are about being impactful, and you are in spaces that is not in alignment, maybe you have to find a different environment. But whilst you are there, you want to make the difference that you know is possible, right? So, um, so what changed because I was there? Legacy is not about recognition. Legacy is about impact. Did you strengthen institutions? Did you empower people? Did you leave systems better than you found them? Communities change when leaders think long term. All right, when um, they realize, um, all right, let me say this again. Communities change when leaders think long term. When they realize leadership is not about the moment, leadership is about the future. So tonight's message is simple but powerful. Leadership is not a title, it is a responsibility, it is influence, it is service, it is resilience, and it is legacy. Every day, as Black men across the country, this country, anywhere you are, leading beyond position, they are sharing, shaping classrooms, transforming organizations, protecting communities, mentoring young men, and building a future that is stronger than the past. And we have to know that we have that responsibility. Oh, that is what the Black Male Impact is about. Highlighting Black men who are committed to making a difference. So you're going to see some of those Black men next week and the following week, talking about their impact, their influence, and the difference they want to make and are making in their community. All right, so the Black Male Impact highlight leaders who are doing the work, leaders who understand that influence changes community. And tonight we continue that conversation, and I'm looking forward to those um, guests that will be coming on, starting next week. So as we close tonight, I just want to first say thanks to all those who have tuned in to the conversation tonight. And I'm just checking to see some of the messages that came in. And, we have to realize that we do have a responsibility as we continue on this journey, as Black men especially, to make a difference that we believe is possible and more than we think is possible. And, one of the things that we have to make sure we don't do is get distracted. There are so many things happening will take us away from doing the work that will make the next generation have a better start than we do today. We cannot allow all the things that's happening. Yes, we have to be aware of all the things that's happening, but we have to focus on the difference that we want to make. It's very important, you know, taking on all the things that the media and everything that push to us to take up our attention, and we consume it, we marinate in it, and none of those things will not help to move the needle forward. We are talking about it, but I think if we spend most of our times doing the things that's going to build our community, going to make a difference in the organizations that where we are, or even focus on building our own organizations, that will be better use of our time and effort. We cannot let distractions take up too much of our focus. It's important to be aware of what's happening, but our community need leaders who can focus, who can lead despite the chaos, who can lead despite the many distractions. That's what is needed. Us leading despite the distractions. All right. So, as we close tonight's conversation, I want to leave you with this thought. And even before I share the thought that I want to leave you with, I just want to say thanks to all those who are here. And um, I appreciate you all tuning in. And you're going to see some guests here. And if you have any recommendation for guests that you believe would be good to share, you can, leave their name, tag them in the comment section, and somebody from the team will reach out to them. All right. So as we close tonight's conversation, I want to leave you with this thought: leadership is not something we wait to be given, it is something we choose to demonstrate every day. Let me say that again. Leadership is not something we wait to be given, it is something we choose to demonstrate every day. It is shown through our character, our service, our resilience, and the way we uplift others. When we lead with purpose, communicates, communities grow stronger. So when we lead with purpose, communities grow stronger, institutions become better, and the next generation sees what's possible. All right. So this is what the Black Male Impact is about: highlighting leadership, amplifying voices, and building legacy. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I look forward to continuing those powerful conversations throughout the month. All right. And again, there are going to be guests here that you will want to tune into. All right. They have been doing the work. They have achieved tremendous success, and they have been very instrumental in their communities in making a difference. So be well, stay encouraged, and keep making an impact. The Black Male Impact is where positive changes are inspired. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for joining.